Next up, at UFC 283, we have the main card opener. We have Paul Jiu-Jitsu Nerd Craig taking on Johnny Walker. Paul Craig, 16-5 overall, 4-1 in his last 5 years, coming off that loss to Volkan Ozdemir. And he's taking on Johnny Walker. Very inconsistent, but incredibly talented. He's 19-7 overall, 2-3 in his last 5. And he's coming off that submission win over Jan Kutalaba. I'm all over Johnny Walker here. I actually have bet both sides. I have a 2-unit money line bet on Johnny Walker at -170. And that line has obviously moved. And then I have a 1/4 of a unit wins inside the distance, decision, no action on Paul Craig. And I get it. It's obviously the only way I win both bets is if Johnny Walker wins a decision. I fully recognize Johnny Walker doesn't win decisions, right? That's not what he does. But 2 units at -170, if he puts Paul Craig away, I'm still going to make some money. But if Paul Craig somehow pulls something off, I can plus 200 my money. But I do think Johnny Walker could potentially win a decision here because Paul Craig is very tough. I know he's been finished before, but he is very, very tough. And he may just look like a desperate nerd on his back begging to grapple while Johnny Walker doesn't really engage. So I love Johnny Walker in this spot. He is a little, you can't necessarily trust him all the time, but not because he's making terrible decisions, but just because he just doesn't look himself sometimes, or his chin will give out. He moved to SBG Ireland with Conor McGregor's coach, and they ruined him because they tried to take away his crazy. But it's the crazy is why he's had the success he's had. Keep the crazy and add a little more to it. They tried to make him super technical, and then he doesn't know what he is, and he's thinking too much. But he looked great in his last fight.
Yeah. I think that Paul Craig is one of my favorite fighters of all time. I love the Bear Jew, but I think he gets knocked out this week. I look at this fight kind of like the Nikita Krylov fight. Nikita Krylov is postured up and at one point standing up in Paul Craig's guard, landing bombs. But what happens when you sit in Paul Craig's guard? Ask him, ask Magomed Ankalaev, you could ask Jamal Hill. What happens when you sit around there for too long? You get finished. Johnny Walker has more power than all of those guys. Johnny Walker has that touch of death. And I think that if he is able to land, even if he doesn't land cleanly, even if it's a situation where Paul Craig is trying to take him down up against the fence and he's landing short shots or elbows, I think he's going to knock him clean out. If you go back to the other page, I think the salaries are off for DraftKings.
Yeah, they're backwards.
Grab me some water. Thank you. I think that the salaries are off for DraftKings, but I think that Johnny Walker is a really strong play. I think he's 8,800 this week, if I'm not mistaken.
So I don't even have it switched. It's completely wrong. You know what, man? Don't show up here pointing out my mistakes.
Hey, it was pointed out in the chat before I got the chance. 8,700. So see, I'm wrong. 8,700. Thank you, Kenny. But no, I think that Johnny Walker wins. The issue with Johnny Walker, though, is his brain is the same size as my cat's brain, right? He does dumb shit, and that could get him in trouble. And Paul Craig is some guy who is super tricky, right? If Paul Craig lays on his back and you think, oh, you know what? I got a good position. Let me take this good position. It could end up being a not so good position very, very quickly. So, and Johnny Walker, he could trip over his own feet. I said that in my video. He could trip over his own feet and mess something up. So banana peel situation here for Johnny Walker, but huge for the division, huge in general. Big power, much better striker, way more athletic, way faster, and should knock out Paul Craig probably in the first round. But like you said, he's tough. He could hang on, but I don't know if he goes 15 minutes with Johnny Walker here unless he's just super gun shy like he's been in some of his past fights.
Yeah, and that's kind of, like I said, I've got the 2 bets. It's really a hedge, and I should be good either way. The only way I legit lose it all is if somehow Paul Craig wins a decision, which is literally the least likely outcome in general.
It doesn't happen. I don't think that happens, especially if they do go the distance. Johnny Walker's winning rounds because when he's landed on Paul Craig's outside of a Valvoline, right? He's all over the place. So I think that Johnny Walker will be just fine.
Outside of a Valvoline, it's that's a solid analogy. I wonder how many of these people got it. I did, because I'm very smart. Very smart. His takedown accuracy is only 20%, and I hate that. That's the definition of a jiu-jitsu nerd. Your path to victory is on the ground, and you can't get it there. I just will that will never make sense to me. How can you be so good on the ground and have no idea how to get it there?
Do you know? I don't know if he's credited with takedowns when he pulls guard. Do you know if the UFC counts that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know either, but that's pathetic as hell.
Well,
with Jacob not being here. Pay.
With Jacob not being here, I got to do the man some justice. Like, he's not like Ryan Hall, where he can roll into something and grab up a heel hook. He's gonna try to grab him, pull guard, and it's just not gonna work out for him.
No, it's there's nothing more pathetic looking than we just watched what's his name butt scoot all over the place.
Claudio Boyes.
Yeah, thank you, because that was gonna get awkward if you didn't know, because I'm gonna be like, no, the guy, and he fought the Australian. Yeah, come on. So I'm glad you got that so quickly, but I mean, that's just always so pathetic. You're professional fighters.
Yeah, that was bad. He was defeated.
Yeah, like learn. Okay, you're getting pieced up. You know how to get it to the ground. You should at least
pick him to win.
yeah, Jacob loved him to win too, and I get it. Like, he's super dangerous, and what's his name didn't look great lately, but yeah, what a fucking performance that was. Anyway, you and I are both all over Johnny Walker. I got the 2 units at minus 170. He has now moved up to minus 190. He obviously he's a nervous bet, because you're not always positive what you're going to get. But when I do a lot of my money line bets, I also look at the opponent, and I get it. Paul Craig had that nice streak, and he has got all these come from behind victories. But to me, come from behind victories are losses. It shows me you're tough, so I'll count on the toughness. But you were losing 14 minutes of a 15-minute fight. It's like when Chael Sonnen lost to Anderson Silva the first time. And in the interview, exactly, because in that interview, it was a 15-minute fight, a 25-minute fight. He got submitted at like 24 minutes and 30 seconds, and he was like, his stupid accent, Jacob does it, like, I was on the understand. I won 4 rounds. And he won 1. So, and it's literally like that. Like, Paul Craig's going to get the shit beat out of him and then pull off a submission against Ankalaev. You really think he's not better than Ankalaev? That's a loss. That's all. You got lucky at the last minute. I cannot look at that and be like, he could win whenever he wants. Like, no, he can't.
Yeah, I mean, this is a dude who has wins over Kennedy Nzechukwu, Magomed Ankalaev, and Jamal Hill, but hasn't come close to the title. There's a reason for that.
Yeah. And he wasn't beating any of them until he did. He was losing to them and then pulled it off. So anyway, we're both on the same side, Johnny Walker. $6,800 is a phenomenal price for Johnny Walker. So he's actually $8,700. Is he worth that $8,700?
Yeah. I'd say so. Inside first round. I mean, when Johnny Walker, think about when he came into the UFC, people were saying, John Jones, run for your life. Which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. But that's how people were feeling because of what he was doing. And if he can get back to that, like, I want the Johnny Walker who might hurt himself doing the worm after
sure.
the win.
The dangerous fun
Johnny
one.
Walker. Not the Johnny Walker that thinks that he can stand at range with Jamal Hill. I want the guy who's going to throw a spinning back fist, elbows in tight, flying knee, just craziness. And like you said, don't take the governor off, take the kid gloves off, just go for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's, I completely agree with you that honestly that SPG Ireland ruined him, but hopefully he's starting to find his own rhythm and see himself again and not fall into whatever weird trap he's fallen into with them trying to make him technical. So we're both on the Johnny.
Who's the best fighter out of SPG Ireland that's not named Conor McGregor?
Yeah, I don't know. With Artem, like, I don't know who else is even in that shit. Like,
Artem,
I don't know.
Artem beating Paulie Malignaggi in BKFC.
Insane.
Chef's kiss.
Insane.
That was such
Absolutely
a win for
insane.
the MMA guys.
Yeah, I know. Because he's such trash. Yeah. And somehow pulled that off. Because Paulie Malignaggi is a decent boxer. He's not like a nobody.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolute trash for sure. So we're on the same side. I'm not going to talk to Monkey Knife Fight Strike Line because it could be anything. It could literally be anything. So we'll go ahead and leave that alone. But if you want to become a premium member, weontpicks.com. At the top, click become a member. You would have seen that 2-unit Johnny Walker bet at -170. Yes, it's only -190 now, but that 20 points, depending on what a unit is for you, that could be 2 months of premium membership. So weontpicks.com. At the top, click become a member. It is only $10 a month. It gets you all the bets, all the picks, all the DraftKings plays, the FanDuel plays, the prize picks, the Monkey Knife Fight, the Underdog Fantasy, ownership, all of that, and you will get alerts to your phone the very second we do everything. While we were filming, Jakey Boy is on the mend and literally posted a bet. So, sorry, I was reading a text as I was getting through that spiel. But anyway, weontpicks.com. Click become a member.